And good morning to another episode of Morning Coffee with Marcaida. So yesterday I wanted to continue on with the idea of drawing and getting your imaginations going with just using what you've got, basically your imagination. If you can imagine it, you can create it. And if you can create it, you can become it. So let's try to use that idea in terms of drawing. So I like to doodle a lot. I like to draw just random things, and the reason for that is it's an expression of getting things out of my head. There is a flow to moving with a weapon. There is a flow to moving with a pencil. The pencil is the weapon, right? That in the end, you are the weapon. So going back to that idea, so I'll move this aside to get the drawing. So yesterday, we started the idea of this whole thing of having the whole arc like an eye. There's the eye. There's the eyeball circle idea there. And there's also the idea of flow. So I can try to show that. The idea of trying to create that spear-like idea, that flow of a draw of the eye. Then I started to put lines in like I would if I were to cut that in half, almost like a yin and yang thing. Hence you have the yin and yang kind of feeling there of opposites. And then the idea of, do I see a knife without the handle? Started drawing different ideas there. But do you start to see visions? Do you start to see in terms of ideas of a knife in there? I start to see a knife the minute you start putting curvatures in there. And what I started to see over there when I started putting these lines in was an actual blade. We started to look like a kitchen knife. Remember the idea of that arc? So when you start seeing that, the next idea I started putting in there, where would my guard be for my finger? Where would my finger rest nicely to be able to grab onto that? And that's where the handle started to be created. That's where I started to find the lines in there for that handle. So the flow of this particular drawing is just to start to see things. Have fun in the idea of being creative. Start to see that. Some of the things I used to do as a kid was, well, I'll do it over here. I'd crumple a sheet of paper, I'd open it up, and I'd start to look at all these creases and start to see if I could find some faces in it. Can you see a face in there? So I start to look at the crease there and I go, I see somebody not looking too happy in here. I see a smudgy thing. Then I see, whoa, all of a sudden I start to see these kinds of drawings based on the creases that I see from that particular drawing. That's what created the imagination. That's what I started to see up there in the corner. Spooky little person up there, right? But it's the imagination. So the fun part is start to imagine things and then start to find a way of getting your imagination to creation. I had an idea of this. I started putting it in here into a drawing. So my drawing and my expression is now found on paper. Then I'm going to start to refine this particular drawing into what I would like to create, something that's going to turn into a knife. I've got my blade pattern in there. I've got my handle pattern for my finger weld, and I can start to see where I would like my handle to be. Next piece is to glue this on paper or get some way to make this so I can feel it for myself and start to feel where the hot spots are, start to feel where the knives would be. This way it starts to feel better into my hands and find out, okay, if I grab onto it, it looks great, but it doesn't feel good. And when you grab something, don't just start swinging around with it, right? You're like, oh, it feels good. Wait. It can't feel good if you're just doing this. First, pick it up. That's it. Pick it up. Feel it. What's it feel like? Then start to move with it. Be one with the blade, basically. So the idea of this is to start to have an imagination, put it on writing, create it, and then execute it. Really. I've got the weekend to work on this weekend. Tune in on Monday and we'll see what we can come up with. Where we can make an art piece of drawing turn into an art piece that becomes a knife. Like Marcaida here, cup of Joe. Let's see if this is going to be a fun project. Have a great weekend, guys.